Hello, everyone. Welcome to the channel. Live from Los Angeles. This is your host, Lord Hellespont the Fifth, your favorite pseudo-intellectual. Welcome to this live stream. I'm really grateful for each and every one of you who are here with me tonight. And I had that in my mind earlier today for this live stream because it is Father's Day. Happy Father's Day. Um, for those who celebrate, it is a very important, valuable day of the year. For for some others, for people like me who have lost their fathers, it is a very difficult time indeed. But I thought it could still be a good time if I joined you here live today and we talked a little bit more about watches. Maybe we can at some point find ways of blending this with memories of our loved ones, of our fathers, of those who perhaps passed down watches to us, from whom we have inherited our knowledge of watches, our passion about watches, and perhaps our stylistic expressions as well. So that being said, I actually am wearing the Submariner that was passed down to me from my father, and I chose to wear it today on a leather strap, kind of this dark brown, elephant gray piece that really brings out the vintage vibe of the watch. And I really love it, and I love it so much that earlier I made a video on the channel about specifically the how we can wear our Rolex sports watches, and especially vintage ones in classical proportions, on leather straps. And I'm going to share the link with you for that, so that you can watch it later. But it was a really fun video for me because once again it involved one of my style icons, one of the role models that I have um, for style in menswear and in watches. And Jimmy says, I like the video. It was very good. I'm a big Ferrari F1 fan, and he did a lot for the team. Yes, Jimmy, I'm glad someone recognized, and still recognizes, in fact, the work that Luca Cordero di Montezemolo did for Ferrari. As you might know, he was forced into a resignation in 2014 because of the championship drought, even though he was there in the first place in setting up those expectations for championship by making Ferrari one of the, or by, I guess, solidifying Ferrari's place as one of the premier F1 constructors. And Jimmy says, yeah, they pushed him out. Yeah, so I made that video earlier today, highlighting some of the ways in which the former Ferrari CEO, Luca Cordero de Montezemolo, styles his Rolex watches over time. And he, of course, for the most part, really was identified with this Rolex GMT master that accompanied him from the beginning of his career as a young executive in Fiat to the end, when he became the CEO of Ferrari until his resignation. And that watch, again, literally followed him from the boardroom all the way into the paddock of the Scuderia Ferrari, the Ferrari F1 team. And you could see him wearing it in any number of occasions as part of his job or as part of his personal life as well. But in addition to that GMT Master, of course, he had a more expansive watch collection. He had this Patek Philippe Calatrava 5127G, the basically the classical Patek Philippe dress watch with crown guards in white gold that he also wore. And this is something that he almost exclusively used with his more business casual or smart casual outfits. And it is something that he basically took to employ on his Rolex sports watches as well. Right? For example, this Polar Explorer 2 that he puts on a very endearing vintage style leather strap when he's wearing a tweed jacket. And the strap is almost reminiscent of those Oyster Perpetuals, reminiscent of the air of those Oyster Perpetuals that are supposed to have accompanied the Norgay Hillary team in their ascent to Mount Everest. And similarly, when he wore his 4-digit Submariner, that is a classic 5512 or 5513, a Submariner with no date indicator, he also used that to full effect to embody this more severe, more serious, and almost all black aesthetic when he accentuated that with the addition of a black leather strap that is very simple, very supple, but also blends in absolutely well and harmoniously with the rest of his outfit. And I mentioned before that one of the reasons that people did something like this was because of necessity initially, right? Because especially in Italy, at a certain point in time, the market was flooded with various examples of Rolex sports watches in sometimes shambolic conditions, right? With bracelets loose, shot, in unwearable conditions, sometimes watch heads only, or that was the way people inherited these watches from their family members, from their fathers. And the easiest way of making those watches wearable, the easiest way of integrating these watches to their daily life for them was to strap it on a leather band and just wear the damn thing, right? It's easier than getting a new bracelet, sourcing a period correct bracelet. It's easier than getting a bracelet fixed and restored. And it's sometimes even easier than getting that bracelet adjusted to the size of your wrist. You just put on a nice leather strap, which, of course, are always in excessive supply in a place like Italy. And what was basically born out of that necessity of making vintage watches that may or may not have serviceable bracelets more usable, more accessible to daily wear, later became a matter of stylistic expression where people, in fact, consciously and intentionally modified their watches in this particular way. So I explored that in a short video, and I posted the link right there. I would really appreciate it if you could check it out. And Big Meech is here. Is he showing his feet? Is he showing us his ears and implying that he's listening? I don't know. Jimmy asks, "Have you seen Agnelli, the documentary?" I think it was shown on HBO, right? If I'm not mistaken. I think I have. I have watched more than one documentary about Gianni Agnelli, who was, of course, chairman of Fiat, and at some point, through his companies, had control over about 5% of Italy's GDP and employed about 3% of its workforce. So, a very, very important man in Italian history, and certainly um, something like an uncrowned king of Italy, of course. And both these men, by the way, um, if it matters at all, Luca Cordero Montezemolo and Gianni Agnelli also belonged to the Italian nobility, and at any rate, that made somehow their belonging to those upper classes, upper Italian bourgeoisie somehow more organic and more natural. And I did a video on Agnelli's style of wearing his wristwatches over the cuff of his shirts as well. So I'll send the link of that in the chat too. And Jimmy says yes, yes, the HBO documentary about Agnelli, which I also recommend. I second Jimmy's recommendation. I've watched, and it's truly a good one, and I think shows how influential he was. And let's not forget. Also, I have to say, I post all sorts of things on my Instagram account, and usually any post that I make about Agnelli gets 3-4 times as many likes as everything else. So you have to say that Agnelli still remains quite influential, um, at least in the menswear and style community online, and on Instagram specifically. It's just there's a constant um, constant hype and unwavering admiration for all things related to Gianni Agnelli on Instagram. Not so much on YouTube, I don't think, but it is what it is. So let me circle back to today's topic, because I wanted to talk about watches that we love to hate in a way. Um, what are those watches? What are those wristwatches that you love, that you admire from far, that you appreciate, but somehow you have not gotten around yet to owning them? You have not yet purchased them because something keeps you back. Uh, Maybe you have still not yet, pardon me, made up your mind completely about them. Maybe it's the potential lack of kudos you will receive from the community of watch collectors around you, but especially online. In fact, maybe it is the severity of judgment you might face from that community of collectors, because this watch that you wanted so much has maybe an unusual design. Maybe it comes out of the left field. It is produced by a micro brand or by one of the new and emergent independents who also come with quite an excessive price tag. Or perhaps uh, it is simply one that is, in a knee jerk fashion, of course, uh, considered a fashion watch because it somehow is affiliated with a brand like Cartier Louis Vuitton, or Hermes? Do you have a watch that you love and that everyone else hates? And maybe you yourself also hate in a certain way, since you have still not made it your own. There is something that is holding you back. And maybe there is something about that watch you also don't really like, you don't really appreciate, despite all your admiration for everything else about it. And I'll start. I'll start with one. I'll start with mine. And in a way, I'm leaning into what our friend Smoking Joe accused me of yesterday, saying that I must have made some sort of pact with the devil in the background, that I may be, in fact, working for Hermes in some uh, form or capacity, since I have been basically shilling for the brand and shilling for the watches for quite some time, and this watch in particular. So, as much as I hesitate, as much as I'm afraid of Smoking Joe's anger and the fire and brimstone he might be bringing onto this live stream, I want to present you my guilty pleasure, the watch that I love and hate, and the watch that I love and that everyone else in the watch collecting community seems to hate. And this is the men's sports watch that Hermes came out with last year, a little more than a year ago. It is the HO8. It's a titanium watch, satin brushed, and satin brushed titanium bezel with a sunburst finish, mirror polished chamfers around the bezel, and then black gold treated circular satin brushed minutes disc, black nickel treated dial, and of course the orange accent on the pip or on the arrow of the seconds hand, which reflects, of course, the rubber band as well, that is executed in Hermes's iconic burnt orange. It has a 100-meter depth rating, 100 meters of 10 bars of water resistance. It has an in-house, technically, caliber of, uh, with a 50-hour power reserve. It's an automatic caliber. And to explain why I meant technically, is because this is a movement that's made exclusively for Hermes by the movement manufacturer Vaucher in Fleurier, um, of which Hermes owns a 25% stake. And Vaucher is otherwise owned by the Sandoz Family Foundation, and they make all the movements for Parmigiani Fleurier, as well as some other horological houses. As it happens, Hermes exclusively makes all the leather straps for Parmigiani Fleurier, so there's some measure of cooperation and collaboration between the two houses, between the two brands. Messaging matters. Welcome back to the channel. I don't know any watches that everyone hates except Hublot, and I don't like them either. That's that's a good that's a good point. Actually, there's, you like to think, or you like to imagine that one of the things that brings the watch collectors community together is hate, but it doesn't seem like there's much of anything that people agree on. except hating on Hublot, which I think, honestly, I think it's a bit of an excessive hatred. I I can't quite get on board with it. I don't have strong feelings about Hublot watches at all, actually. Um, I have stronger feelings and stronger negative feelings about a lot of other brands that I might divulge as the stream develops. But um, here we are. By the way, I did always appreciate other models from Hermes's watch collection. Almost every year, there was at least one or two other watches that I like, but I will stick to this one for now, um, because they also just came out in Watches and Wonders 2022 in Geneva with another uh, model in the H08 line, and that was blue version of this, where the case is in deep blue titanium. So you have basically those kind of an excess of orange accents this time, right, on that black treated gold minutes circle. Then you have a lot of blue on those nickel treated parts of the dial. You have again quite a discrete date aperture, uh, which echoes with the font they have designed for this model that is reflected on the Arabic numerals for hours as well. You have that sunburst finished, satin brushed, larger bezel, mirror polished uh, chamfers, and finally, what is, I think, a coated, uh, blue coated titanium case that blends rather well or flows right into the strap, which seems like a hybrid, um, but is possibly just a rubber band. And there are a lot of things about this watch actually that are quite conventional, right? The cushion shape case for a sports watch, especially for a water resistant sports watch, is not that out of the ordinary. We have, we all love Seiko divers, and both the turtle case shape and what we call a Captain Willard, um, in connection to the Apocalypse Now character. Those two are, for example, cushion shaped cases, and uh, Seiko in both of those lines makes very popular watches. So this watch is a cushion shaped case, respectable water resistance, respectable power reserve, um, automatic movement that is in house and exclusive to them, and also a dial that has the look of a contemporary field watch, right? With those big Arabic numerals that are very visible and very legible and very striking, and that are executed in a unique font. And ultimately, this new model accepted, I guess, and the graphene one they have, which retail right over $8,000. This blue is 8250. I think the one in graphene is somewhere like 8.3 as well. I want to show you that too. Right, 8650. That's the one that is basically ceramic. right? Uh, Besides two of those, the watch also retails at 53.50. You can get it at the Hermes boutique. You can get it on the website, at least whenever it's available. Sometimes it pops up. Sometimes it's out of stock, and you can also get it through authorized dealers that do carry Hermes's sports watch collection. Now let's go back to the chat. Jimmy says, mine is Tag Heuer Autavia Panda, Jack Heuer edition. People love to shite on it because it's a tag technically, but I love it. Really good price, in-house, column wheel, vertical clutch. Great. So let's check that out. Check that out next. Big Meat says, Robert. And Mike David, I like the Hermes. I think it looks cool. Would I buy one though? Absolutely not. So you're very much like me, Mike. I can't say it with absolute certainty as you do that I would not buy one, never. Um, but honestly, yes, there's a lot that I like about this watch, but so far I have not really brought myself to buy it. Bruce Geese has been looking at the H08 for a long time, a big fan. People criticize the placement of the date. People also criticize the appearance of the date too, Bruce. I think it makes for a very harmonious design. I think it makes the dial come together, especially with the matching font of the Arabic numerals for the index markers and the date. But there's a point that you can make for lack of legibility, right? That it's genuinely difficult to read at a quick glance. Haven't pulled the trigger because of the service concerns I've heard about. Tell me more, Bruce. I suspect it, but I don't know about any service concerns with Hermes. I've seen better date executions than that Hermes. I can't disagree. And Jimmy says, you don't have to pull it up, Lord. We've looked, just wanted to give my take. Hey, I every live stream we start from scratch, Jimmy. It's for better or worse, this is exactly how it works. And I'm happy to do it for you. I actually like Altavia. So it's not that everyone else hates it. And I have hated on Tag Heuer before. I'm sure you have observed me doing that, but I actually have great respect for the heritage that that name Hoya carries. So anytime they do a limited edition, anytime they do um, kind of a special take from their archives, it excites me. I do appreciate it, and again, those are really the watches that kind of make me a believer again in the brand. So I would love to check it out again. I know we looked at it. Marco says, thumbs up. Thank you for the thumbs up. Thank you for encouraging everyone to upvote. We will check this out later, Marco. Can't stay, but wanted to drop an upvote. My guilty pleasure, Mont Blanc Heritage Pulsograph Salmon Dial with the Minerva movement. We will get back to it. Congratulations again, Marco. As you know, especially due to the current political situation, Betarbiev was representing Canada last night. I called the fight here on the channel. It was a great win and something I predicted and shared with the viewers in advance. And Mike David says nothing wrong with that Mont Blanc, Marco. So tag Hoya Otavia. Um, and of course, Jimmy is right. This was a model um, that we checked out and that we discussed. I wanna find one that does a deeper dive on it. I want to find a website where we can see a little more details. Um, I think we took a look at these when we were discussing some of the best chronographs at each price segment. At $5,000, at $10,000, at 15, at 25, and if money is no object. And this was one of the watches that we discussed. Um, this is a limited edition that Tag Heuer did for the 85th year of to celebrate Tag Heuer's first dash counter for racing cars and aircraft. So it's about 4 or 5 years back, and you have three sub-dial, classic chronograph with three sub-dials, um, a 60-minute bezel, rotating bezel, date indicator, 30-minute totalizer, uh, running seconds at 6 o'clock, and a 12-hour totalizer at 9. I think it's a beautiful piece of design. I don't know if they're still available, um, but I think they are still rating pretty well in the secondary market. They have the Hoya O2 movement, which is a column wheel vertical clutch chronograph movement with an 80-hour power reserve. And as I have explained before, um, there are a couple of things that a column wheel chronograph movement has on the more traditional and system of cam and lever chronograph, which is cheaper to produce. This is the less significant part of it. I think there's a slightly more pleasant haptic feeling when you are interacting with the pushers on a column wheel chronograph. There's a sturdiness to it. There's a certain heft and precision to it that I enjoy a little more. But more importantly, um, with cam and lever chronograph movement, when it starts and stops, there's a certain stutter sometimes, at least with some cam and lever movements to the chronograph seconds hand, right? It seems to be jumping back and forth, that chronograph seconds hand, every time it starts and stops with certain cam and lever movements. So with column wheels, with the column wheel vertical clutch system, you have a more sturdy, more precise movement that performs basically more consistently better. And Jimmy says monochrome watches has a good article. If they also have good photographs, we would be in good shape. Yeah, this is it. Jack Hoya 85th anniversary edition. And of course, this being an anniversary edition, this being a limited edition, they went with a complimentary bracelet that brings out that vintage aspect a little more strongly, kind of like a 7-link design. Um, Hoya's 85th birthday. I think it's uh, I think it's a beautiful piece, and I don't hate it by any means. And look, Tag itself knows that it's part of its name inspires a certain kind of quote unquote hate, right? There's a reason why they just use Hoya when they do these heritage editions, when they do these re-releases. So they know it themselves. This is a very nice piece. And if we were to look in Chrono 24, They seem to be rating fairly well. And we don't have to take um, whatever Chrono 24 quotes as the price point so religiously. A lot of times, of course, both professional dealers and private sellers um, list items with a price that reflects an amount of wishful thinking. In either case, even when it's advertised as a fixed price, you can always negotiate. In this case, um, from what was, I think, around $6,000 in terms of the retail price when the watch was released a few years back, it seems to have largely retained its value. You know, this is a full set, pre-owned, but in good condition with the original box and papers, and it's basically 5.8K USD. And there's another one in the US that's 575, and again comes as a full set and looks also as new. So you have a piece that actually was very much appreciated and mostly retained its value, Jimmy. And I don't hate it. I'm sorry to say. And Marco says, Beterbiev starched him, and I'm not shocked. The way Smith lost to Bivol showed he does not fight well against people who pressure him. Beterbiev wins that fight 100 times out of 100. I don't want to sound morbid, Marco, but I don't think Smith can take Beterbiev for a third fight, never mind the 100. So um, hopefully they won't have to fight more than once, even for Joe Smith Jr.'s good. Um, Marco Ferrante says these are a bit thick, though. I think 46 millimeters. I think they're 42 millimeters in case diameter, and then also, yes, and also then 16 millimeter thick. Yes, look, that's a problem people have with a lot of the new chronographs. There are a lot of interesting uh, pieces around, um, ranging around $4,000 to $6,000. From Tudor, um, from Hoya, from others, and a lot of times the main drawback is that they're thick, and some of that has to do with the movement technology. Of course, it is more difficult to build, and it takes more resources to build a thinner movement, especially a thinner chronograph movement, a thinner automatic chronograph movement that is as robust, as reliable, that has as large, if not larger, of a power reserve, um, and that delivers on all these boxes that we have checked before. Column wheel, vertical clutch, and the power reserve, uh, automatic or manual, whatever you want. In either case, it's always harder to deliver an in-house caliber that is thinner, um, and that's been a problem with a lot of the uh, Hoya and Tudor new generation chronographs. And Jimmy agrees they're a bit large, and it's the height. Yeah, yeah. For me, Jimmy, I was really speaking from a personal standpoint. For me, it would be both the case size and the height. But I understand you probably have more masculine wrists than I do. So with my skinny wrists, both the thickness of the watch and the largeness of the case, the 42 millimeter diameter of the case would be a problem. So let's see Marco's watch that some love to hate, which is Mont Blanc, and that brand does get a lot of flack from others. Mont Blanc Heritage Pulsograph. Um, Mont Blanc is, of course, a brand that is owned by Richemont. So Richemont owns a number of um, different watchmakers, ranging from IWC, Jaeger-LeCoultre, Alain Gonzone, Vacheron Constantin, but also Mont Blanc, which was, as you know, mostly famous for its watches and some of its leather products, but became, with the integration of the movement manufacturer Minerva into the body of Richemont as a conglomerate, Montblanc also became a watchmaker which started carving uh, a pretty respectable place for itself in the world of horology, using Minerva's expertise and designs in movement technology, and ultimately also executing a lot of vintage inspired designs. And you can certainly see it in this model, which is a two register chronograph, um, has quite a vintage inspired, vintage looking design with a pulsometer on the chapter ring, uh, on the outer dial, as opposed to a tachometer. Of course, the Salmon dial is a sort of design cue that became immensely popular in the recent years. But of course, that in itself is a design cue that tips the hat to vintage watches, vintage chronographs too, of course. And this is of course a stainless steel monopusher chronograph that has a that really has a beautiful look. It's hard to hate it. Um, Once again, I'm a little confounded here, Marco. I guess I understand what you mean. I think people do hate on Mont Blanc in a certain way. Um, I think at times they might easily dismiss or discount them because they don't necessarily think of them as a watchmaker. But here you have a very nice heritage inspired hand wound chronograph, classically beautiful, with a two register design that I really appreciate, with a Salmon dial that I also appreciate, because it's not overdone, and there's enough of a dash of other colors as well, with the heat blued hands, for the chronograph seconds and the subdials. Um, Again, those dashes of blue for the pulsometer and just enough of red at quarters and at the tip of the chronograph hand as well. Not to mention, of course, that grain, grained finish for that hour circle. And of course, the traditional concentric circles or the vinyl groove grooves, as I like to call them, for the subdials. There's so much going on that dial that I cannot but appreciate. There's so many uh, interesting levels and layers to it that make it truly beautiful. I think this is, in fact, the kind of watch that could um, turn people around when it comes to Mont Blanc, right? If you want to change someone's mind about Mont Blanc as a watchmaker, show them this watch, show them the heritage pulsograph. The only thing that can turn some people away from it, right, if they fall in love with this watch, thinking it's not only vintage inspired, but thoroughly vintage. It's a 40 millimeter case, not too large, pretty wearable still, but it's not 38 or 36, uh, like what you might expect from a chronograph that looks like that from some decades back. And it's a little bit thick also for what it is, I think. Let me see what it says about the thickness. I think it was a limited edition, so I don't know about the availability either. Right, so it's a 40 millimeter in case diameter and 12.65 millimeter thick. So it's a moderately proportioned chronograph that is vintage inspired, but uh, modern in wearability and dimensions. Not too large, not too small, but quite wearable on an everyday basis. So let's check out how these are actually trending in the secondary market. And as always, 24 is our friend that we use with the caveat that we don't do it. God damn. It's basically $27,000. No, not at that price. Okay, now I hate it a little bit. I don't know what these were released for, what they were retailing for at the time of the release. So this price point, again, could be a combination of wishful thinking and the limited numbers, since it was only produced in 100 pieces. But that's quite excessive. And again, I see a lot that is very interesting about this watch, from the pulsograph scale to the classical elements of design, the Salmon dial, the two register layouts, the mono pusher um, tech and aesthetic. But at that price point, there's so much else that you can get. Why go for a Mont Blanc chronograph? With all due respect. But yeah, nice doctor's watch vibe. Great hand wound mono-pusher chronograph. And yeah, the MSRP too apparently was set at 30,000. So they were dreaming a little bit with this one to try to sell a stainless steel chronograph from basically a no name in watchmaking, for more than $30,000. Good luck. I'm glad they only released 100 pieces. Smoking Joe, welcome back to the channel.
What's going on, Lord?
Nice to see you, man.
Yeah, likewise.
Yeah, we were looking at Marco's suggestion of this Mont Blanc Heritage pulsograph with a salmon dial. He says it can be had for less than $20,000. I'm still not convinced. Who tell me, Joe, who pays $20,000 for a Mont Blanc chronograph?
Delusional fantasists, that's who. Delusional fantasists who probably invested into Gerard Perregaux as well. Yeah, there's no fucking way. $500 max is what I'd drop on a fucking Mont Blanc. Spending over that. You got rocks in your head, as Archie would say.
How many pens do they have to give you for free next to this watch for you to buy it?
I would need a bushel. All right, we're talking we're talking on unorthodox measurements here, units of measurement. So I would need a bushel of pens. No, I mean a barrel. I need a barrel of pens.
Yeah.
I would need 3 drums of various Mont Blanc cologne. Um, I would need a subscription to the Mont Blanc Informer for the next 5 years, all paid for by Mont Blanc.
A dozen,
Um,
a dozen Meisterstücks, of course, at least.
of course.
Yeah.
And then I would need an endorsement. Yeah, I would need an endorsement deal for good for 2 years.
Oh,
Um,
I think they would be honored to have you as one of their what shall we call you, Joe? One of their athletes, one of their YouTube celebrities. Like, what is your claim to fame?
claim to technically we could go very wild with this, but let's just play conservatively, and we'll just label myself as a blogger of sorts.
Okay, that's fair. Influencer.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Mike David says, "Holy Fike, 27K is expensive. Can be had under 20K, maybe under 2K. We might have a deal, Marco." Jimmy says, "Damn, nice watch though," and Marco is taking it well at least. Thanks for playing along, Marco. America's Army says, "Exactly," and Jimmy says, "What's wrong with cheapy jeepies?" Love the Watch Nicholas language cropping up, man. I love the guy. And Jimmy says, "I take it the movement is why they justify the price." Hey, Marco is right. He says, "Where's perfect, in my opinion. I've never tried it in person, so I can't tell that, but the proportions of the case seem fine. 40 millimeters, it's less than 30 millimeters thick. That sounds like a nice case. Movement finished very well. We saw the movement. It does indeed look beautiful. And of course, one of the absolutely amazing things about owning a hand wound chronograph in the 21st century is to enjoy that movement, to contemplate that movement and all the finishes and gears and elements of this movement, even in photographs, make it a joy to behold. I can't deny that. And I'm being a little harsh by saying more like 2K. Of course not. But listing at $30,000 is a little delusional for non-brand in the world of watchmaking as Montblanc. Um, and yes, I'm sure the Minerva heritage is one way in which they justify that price tag. America's Army 285 says, I mean, I wouldn't even pay $500 for this Mont Blanc. And again, I would not um, I would not blame you for that. Marco, I guess you did manage to get some hate for this decision. So congrats. This is actually the first choice that gathered that mobilized some hatred. So good job. Um, Big Mish, do you have anything hateful to say about my choice of Hermes H08? H08?
Well, I mean, look, I personally would never fucking buy one, to be honest with you, because there's no market for them. So I mean, that's the only reason I really don't like them. There's no market for them. Nobody's talking about them. They don't even get put in the same conversation as Gucci or Versace or Polo. Like the rest of the fashion watches. They're not even in the same conversation. Just like nobody knows they exist.
I would say, look, I'm not gonna get too defensive, even though I supposedly, allegedly work for the brand, but they're not in the same conversation with Gucci and Versace because they're above it. With Polo, my argument would be Polo has watches that look cute and that have a decent enough movement in them. But this is superior. I would rather get a Hermes watch than a Polo watch. That's for sure. Like
Well, I mean,
for a
there's no
Polo
doubt
watch,
that it's superior. I won't doubt that. It's just you don't hear of the brand. Hell, you don't even hear them being compared to Louis Vuitton, which would probably be the direct competitor, to be honest with you.
that is true.
Um,
That is true.
like I said, if nobody's talking about it, that means there's no market for them. I'm sure there is a market within the fashion industry for them, but in the watch world, it just, like I said, I mean, Grand Seiko gets more publication than these guys.
There's a
And
there's a very very limited market for it. You're absolutely right. I mean, look, there are a lot of delusional people who list these for excessive markups on eBay. I don't know if they ever sell. Same thing with Chrono 24. A lot of times you see them with very high premiums. But then in other websites that try to be realistic, like the Real Real, the consignment store, they constantly have this model, for example, right at 4.9K. So just like a minor markdown for something that is barely used. And at that point, like you pointed out, you would rather try to deal with the Hermes boutique, or go to an authorized dealer and ask for a hefty discount for a new watch, right? Kind of work out your relationships with either Hermes for a nice woman's handbag, or with your authorized dealer for another watch. Yeah, the market is
I mean,
extremely
if I'm being
limited.
honest, I would probably not pay no more than $1,200 for this watch. I mean, that's kind of what it looks like. It looks like, to be frank. Can I be frank and honest with you, Lord? Lord,
Yeah.
I gotta be honest with you. I just don't see it. I mean, it's not Steel Sports. I can't flip out. I can't buy it for investment purposes. I just don't think it's a very good brand. It's not an Explorer 2 or a lady size paddock.
But
It's not
honestly,
worth buying.
what does at list price, what does 1200 now is Seiko Prospects, which I love, as you know.
Yeah,
Like
that's fucking depressing, isn't it?
I love Seiko. So it's not like when you say I would pay 1200 for it, it's like the way I say it just jokingly, I would pay 2000 for a Mont Blanc chronograph. Of course, that's not reasonable at all. Um, but no, I agree. I agree. I think look, one of the reasons they did these with rubber bands, yes, they wanted to accentuate the sporty aspect of the watch, but I think they also were trying to bring it down to a price point where it seems reasonable. And I think 5K for an Hermes watch, um, it seems okay. I mean, because you are mostly paying for the brand. Make no mistake about it. Just like you are paying mostly for the brand when you get a Rolex sports watch, just for different reasons.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
if we're not, if we're not joking,
mhm.
yeah, $1,200 is what I'd be willing to shell out for it. I mean, I mean that's now of that $1,200, I'd say 900 of that is just the name is what you're buying.
Nice. So, how about I turn the question to you? What is that one watch that you love and that everyone else seemingly hates? It might be
Hmm.
something you have in your collection, or it might be something that you are contemplating to buy. Anything. The world is your oyster.
One watch that I love that seemingly everyone hates. Hmm. I gotta be honest. I gotta be frank and honest. Uh, no bullshit. Uh, I reckon it's gotta be the Tag Heuer Aqua Racer.
Oh, what an awful choice. Let's check it out. What, what do you like about the Tag Heuer Aqua Racer? What
It's
is
for
there to
me. It's
like about
purely sentimental. It's purely. I mean, the watch is dog shit, but I will say Tag Heuer probably gives between Tag and Ornis. Anyways, Tag probably does the better job of getting people into the world of luxury. Um, and I think Tag Heuer sits at that price point pre-owned, anyways. It used to, anyways. That it was a decent enough watch that you could get to start your journey.
it? So there we are. Tag Heuer Professional 300 Aqua Racer. Oh, um, you said this gets people into luxury. Hmm.
100%. So, not to get too controversial here, and I'll try and keep it moderately friendly here. But when everyone was getting these government handouts, number one watch that was requested on the Facebook forums, eBay, buy and sell trade watches platforms. Number one watch everyone wanted was the Tag Heuer Aqua. Of course, when the government handouts dried up, this was also the number one watch that was trying to be dumped out of.
Hmm.
So for a lot of people, I mean, yeah, I mean it's fake luxury, right? Plastic in the movements, plastic spacers, cheap Seiko movements that are allegedly in house. Um, but there is something about a Tag Heuer that it's just seemingly everyone's first luxury watch. Everyone, I remember when I first got my first Tag, I thought it was king shit. I thought it was cool, man. Yeah, man, I thought it was real cool. Um, even I thought I had my Rolex license at the time, so I could act like a douchebag.
Hmm.
But they're not terrible for if you can get one, if you can scoop one up. I mean, it's a little harder nowadays. Maybe not, but if you can scoop one up for $1,200, at one time you could scoop them up for at least the quartz variants, about 800, $900. They're not terrible. They're not terrible. I don't like what they did with the new generation here, where they put the Cyclops in the inside of the glass versus the
Mhm.
outside. I mean, I think that's fucking stupid, to be honest with you. And I don't like the date wheel at 6 o'clock. On a Tag, I
Mhm.
think it looks better at 3 o'clock.
I mean, look, where do I start? I mean, two things. First of all, one very personal, Joe. I think you don't need to be even wearing a watch to act like a dick. That comes very naturally to you, I think. So that's one thing. So forget about Tag or Rolex. Um,
Touche.
but look, I mean, I love Seiko movements, but I love Seiko movements in Seiko when they give me a good quality diver watch under $1,000 and usually under even $500, right? You know, all the three Seikos that I got, I paid less than, in fact, 350 for them, for each one of them. In this case, you have a watch that's basically $3,000. $2,950 is the tag price, no pun intended. You have a watch that's trying to be something that it isn't, which is to use Seiko-produced movements that they claim as in-house, because God knows what they did with it. And it's not like you can actually see it because it has a closed case back, which possibly is a good thing. Because, you know, I don't really get why people want to show off uncomplicated average or substandard movements through the case back. I don't see the charm.
I mean, Tudor does the same thing, but yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah, and then, I mean, why is this watch 43 millimeters? Why does it need to be 43 millimeters?
I think the smallest they make is, I think, I can't remember. So I know they make a 41, and I think that's the smallest they go.
I mean, but the Aquaracer 300, these things that they, of course, they're trying to, I mean, God knows the kind of circle of hell we inhabit when Tag Heuer tries to use scarcity marketing to sell their entry-level watches, limited quantity. Ooh, I must buy it now before I miss out
Buy,
on this
buy now, Lord. Buy one now. Add the shopping cart.
incredible deal. These are all 43. These are all 43. And again, these were the rubber bands versions. If you want to get the actual one with the full metal bracelet, then you have to shell out 3,300 for this watch. I think this is the watch, in fact, that you can at most pay for, you know, for it $1,000. Just like, you know, this is basically Seiko Prospects with a different branding, isn't it?
I would agree. And you want to know what's sad, Lord? You want to know what the real ball kicker is? This has a micro adjust at this price point versus like let's take a look at a few brands. Grand Seiko, I mean Grand Shitter doesn't have one. A lot of the Omegas don't have one yet. Tudor doesn't have them. Zenith doesn't have them. So Paddocks and some Paddocks they don't have them. Some Vacherons. It's kind of embarrassing when you got a brand that, but a brand like Tag Heuer, who has a very shady past and very
Mhm.
shady reputation, has something that they make standard, where a lot of other luxury brands don't.
Mhm. Yeah, let's see. Let's see if it is still the case, just to, for the benefit of our um, readers. Tag Heuer Caliber 5, which is what they use. Oh, it's not even Seiko. It's just ETA.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think the new caliber is an ETA.
Okay, I mean, that's that. So it's basically a modified version of the ETA that they don't even advertise. They just say it's our in-house Caliber 5, whereas it's obviously based on ETA 2824-2 or Celita SW 200-1. So it is what it is. Again, it's what I don't like is how the sleight of hand that goes with it, man. That's the only thing. Um, if
I
they
think
just said,
Tag's trying in some areas, in other areas they said, screw it, we'll never shake this reputation, so we might as well run with it, which is kind of
I,
sad.
I think they should just be transparent about it. They should just say that we use an ETA movement that we assemble and modify according to our own standards, and this is exactly what we change about it. This is exactly what we use. This is exactly how we finish it, and that's why we can justify this price. Mm.
But I digress. It's a watch that officially, I mean, it was technically my first luxury watch. I always say my Tudor was my first luxury watch because that was the watch I actually spent real money on. But the tag was, I mean, I bought that off of Amazon. It started my journey into madness where I lose sleep at night staring at other people's horological collections. And when I'm slowly driven into madness, into the abyss. Um, but I think Tag's done a lot of people the same route where they thought they bought luxury, it's fake luxury. So they dig a little deeper and they kind of bump into their first Tudor
Mm.
or Omega, and it kind of goes onwards and upwards from there.
Hamilton Ventura. Are we talking about the current version, Jake, or the vintage one? By the way, M3 6 Speed, welcome to the channel. He says, in high school, I had a Citizen Echo Drive Sailhawk. Knew Rolex was king, but I knew very little, and it made me happy. Um, yeah, no worries, man. I mean, that's I had a Swatch diver that was in this god awful shade of fluorescent um, yellow or green. I can't even tell anymore. I can't find this watch, and it really drives me mad. But in either case, I loved it. I loved it. The way that bezel clicked made it for me, and it made it made so much sense that I'm obsessed with watches with fidgety rotating bezels still to this day. So let's pull that up for a little bit. Citizen Echo Drive Sailhawk. Nice. Was it on rubber? Looks cool on rubber. Yeah. I mean, certainly not something that would be appreciated in the, collectors community at all. But I'm sure this is the kind of watch that people wear all around the world and wear it with pride. No doubt about that. Elvis 80 in black. So Hamilton, Ventura, Elvis 80 in black. But they have it in skeleton and stuff. Ooh. Some okay. Take it away, Joe.
Actually, no, the one person who would actually be really great to introduce this watch would be Marco, because he calls it the pizza cutter. Um,
Or simply the pizza slice, right?
yeah, I mean, look, I get if you're a nerd, so to speak. Yeah, you get the Men in Black thing, but fuck me dead. This thing is garbage. It's garbage. It's not horological luxury. It's fucking garbage, as Archie would say. It's the shit you'd give to the gardener or your garbage man.
As always, we appreciate Joe's honesty. I think our friend Big George, who has been quite busy lately, he's not really visiting the channel as often and joining the panel or even the chat. He just got, in fact, through an amazing deal on eBay, a vintage version of the Hamilton Ventura, if I'm not mistaken. And he was really happy about it. And he's a huge fan of Elvis. And I don't know if they're featuring in the movie, but the Elvis biopic is coming out too. So you know that, especially if this watch somehow appears in that movie, there will be a little mainstream craze about it, I am sure. And it is, look, it is a very, very interesting piece of design, but it would make sense in a very specific kind of collection, right? You know, if you are collecting watches that have this celebrity stardust, so to speak. Um, if you are a huge Elvis fan, or maybe you are a collector who is after unconventional case shapes, right? I know a collector like that. Ronnie Madavi is his name, and he has, like, you know, all these Audemars Piguet, Patek Philippe, Cartier, uh, you know, Vacheron Constantin, everything that has a unique and odd case shape, he has it, from Cartier Crash to you know, Audemars Piguets that are shaped like pizza slices, to Vacheron Constantins with extremely stylized lugs. I will pull up just very quickly his Instagram just so you get an idea. Then we'll come back to. So you know, these are basically these kinds of watches, right? The older dress watches are the most conventional ones that he has in his collection. But usually, what you see are stuff like this, like tonneau shapes, rectangles with right, the hour track on the bezel. This literally dinner plate design, not in terms of the size, but aesthetics. Right, this UFO, Audemars Piguet, retailed by Gubelin.
Bizarre watches,
This
indeed.
this Audemars Piguet ellipse or elliptical shape. You know, one retailed by Hermes. Apparently, this is the one he wants to get. Um, anyway, so in his collection, for example, I can completely see something like the Hamilton Ventura, you know, a vintage iteration of it that would just make sense. But it's not the kind of watch then that anyone and everyone would appreciate. And since we are on Instagram, I will actually share. Speaking of Elvis watches and speaking of the king who wears the crown, I've actually found a picture of Elvis from the movie Girls, Girls, Girls from 1962, where he is wearing a Submariner 6538 with the big crown on a nylon strap. So,
You know what? You mentioned the documentary that's coming out with Elvis with Tom Hanks. Um,
no, it's
so I
actually
was
it's
looking.
a feature. It's a feature movie. It's not a documentary.
Okay, yeah. That's actually gotten a lot of negative feedback. Um,
Really? Tell me more.
yeah, because well, not to get too much into it, but it's just if you know the controversial history of Elvis, yeah, he was doing some very, I guess, very questionable things with. Yeah, I'm not going to get too deep into it. I'm pretty sure you can put two and two together. I don't know if they're true or not, but it's all allegations, I guess. But yeah, not too
Yeah.
many people were writing up rave reviews, or how do I say this? People were just now they weren't saying positive things about it.
So Elvis is canceled, you're saying in short?
Well, well, here I'll just send you a message.
Okay.
I'll leave you decide whether you want to proceed.
I probably don't, but thank you for asking first, Joe. You know how much I appreciate you. So thanks for running it by me before you broach the topic. And M36 Speed says thanks. It was on a steel bracelet, the Citizen Echo Drive. Um, ooh, yeah, we don't want to talk about that. Um,
That's like I figured. I don't know if that's true or not. But like I said, apparently there's quite a few allegations on it during its time.
and Ozzy is back. Hey, Ozzy, jump on the panel if you find the time and if you find room. But happy Father's Day to you, man. It's nice to have you. By the way, guys, we're past our first hour of this live stream. Happy Father's Day to you who celebrates, and to us,
Thank you, Lord.
who
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
to to people like us who are usually very miserable around this time of the year. Um, we are hanging on, and thank you for being with us on this day. Um, I lost my father when I was 3, so I don't know how a happy Father's Day really feels. Um, but life goes on, and we try our best. And I wanted to make sure that I'm here tonight, so I stick to my schedule, so I remain committed to this channel, which I'm trying to bring to a wider range of people, to a larger group of people, and reach my first major goal of 1,000 subscribers. So if you can upvote, if you like the stream, if you subscribe, if you haven't already, and click that bell icon while you're at it, I would appreciate it. Spread the word, share the link with others, tell your friends, and help me get that much closer to 1,000 subs. And in the meantime, if you want to support the channel, if you want to encourage me in running these live streams, in creating new, original, and exclusive content, and I invest most of everything into the channel, back into the channel, with the StreamYard, with the equipment and everything, and I will continue to do so. You can always consider a PayPal donation at lordhellespontv@gmail.com, lordhellespontv@gmail.com. I also have a Cash App at $LHVVV, $LHVVV. The information is crawling in the ticker and is also included in the description. So welcome back, Aussie expats. And Newbie says the Konstantin Haikin Clown Audacity 2 is the one watch that will always put a smile on my face. I'd never get bored of it. No other version either. Let's check it out. Konstantin. Yeah, what's the final verdict on the Hamilton Ventura before we move forward?
Fucking ugly. That was the final verdict.
Um, yeah, I think actually the vintage version I appreciate for what it expresses, for the era that it belongs to, as an appreciation of Elvis. This blacked out version with orange accents, JB, I love you, but is horrid. My eyes are hurting already, so I'm moving on to the next watch.
Lord, would you say you would lose sleep over that Hamilton?
I would have nightmares about it. Like if I saw it in my dreams, I would wake up in a cold sweat. This is all right. I kind of guessed it. This is the Konstantin Haikin Clown to Audacity. Mm. Let's put a smile on that face.
And I'm officially creeped out. I mean, I get why people don't like these. I actually kind of like them because there's a lot of detail, there's a lot of fine art that goes into them. But I get why people don't like them. What was it? Clown Fear Alone, essentially. But
And made in
well done.
made in made in Russia as well. Made in Russia. Honestly, You know, of all the gimmicks, of all the more subtle gimmicks that a lot of these high horological brands do, I kind of like the fact that he basically leaned on the kind of smiley face appearance that you get from a lot of interesting watches, like the FP Jean chronomètre à résonance, for example. That kind of looks like a smiling face to me always. And this is a watch that just went with the theme. You know, if our dial looks like a smiley face, why not actually turn it into a smile? Um, I kind of like it. I'm sure I wouldn't be willing to pay what it costs, because this is a highly respected independent maker, if I'm not mistaken. So probably has has a price point that reflects that status.
I think only like there's only like a handful made per year. I think there's only like 1,200 of these made a year, is what Marco said. I don't
Mm.
want to put words in his mouth, but I know that they're very short run on these per year because they're all done by hand by one guy.
I mean, look, if I were a comic book villain, this is probably the watch I would go for. And I would love to be a comic book villain. Uh, so it's a cool thing. The problem is, of course, it would be easily traced back to you since it's in limited numbers. So you probably want to wear something more discreet.
Imagine that's how you get taken down.
Right,
Pulled the
because
paperwork for your fucking watch.
Mike David says they're ridiculous to match the price. Mm. Yeah, yeah. I mean, they are kind of ridiculous, but in a good way. I don't know. It does put a smile to my face as well, because it's always nice to see, watchmaker or anyone from any profession really enjoying what they do. And clearly, uh, this maker has that sort of passion in his work, derives that sort of joy from his work, and has a sense of humor. And I can only appreciate that. And we beg for forgiveness from the hidden gods of the YouTube algorithm, so that they won't smite us down because we're talking about a Russian watch. But this is an open platform. We will talk about anything and everything. We don't care about the politics of the day. And Newbie speaks to that situation. The AD in the UK refuses to bring them in from Russia because it currently looks bad. Well, that AD doesn't have a sense of humor, Newbie. We need to teach him a lesson. Alan Gilda says, "Evening, folks. I'll take my chances with the Ventura. That clown is a no." Mm. Yeah, the Ventura is actually a design that, again, I appreciate in the era to which it belongs. As a current watch, I'm not too hot for it. Um, but yeah, I actually don't mind the Konstantin Chaikin. Um, Not too bad at all. And how about you, Alan? Do you have a watch that you love, that you would like to get, or that you already have in your collection that everyone else seemingly hates? Or Mike David, you? M36 Speed says that my Citizen Echo Drive Sailhawk was on a steel bracelet, and it was his gateway drug, so to speak. It was his entry point into collecting watches. Now he has three Rolexes and a Speedmaster. How is your Speedmaster doing, Joe?
Doing great, actually. I have to swap out the bracelet tomorrow, so I'm going to stop into my Rolex boutique and have them put the bracelet back on.
Nice. The Rolex boutique takes care of your Omega.
They take care of my everything essentially. They're I think they've only had me pay once for a watch, and that was for an Omega Seamaster because it took them a good 10 minutes to get it off because the Omega dealer had just caked it with Loctite. But yeah, other than that, they typically do everything for free. But I always do a small tip every now and then
Mhm.
because they don't have to do that.
The boss says the clown watch suits you, Lord, or shall I say, Jester. Hey, man, I do appreciate that actually. The Joker is one of my favorite favorite villains of all time, probably after Darth Vader.
What the Heath
And
Ledger? Yeah, the Heath Ledger version.
I love them all. I love the Jack Nicholson one. I love the Mark Hamill one because he's the one who voices them
Yeah, the OGs, as a
in
distance
the
say.
cartoon. I do think, to me again, Heath Ledger, because he did it once and it will never be repeated again. God bless
Thank
him.
God.
Rest in peace. He
Oh wait,
won't
no, I'm
be
thinking of
coming
Jared
back.
Leto. And excuse me, Jared Leto was fucking terrible. Heath Ledger was great. Jared Leto was
Right.
fucking
So
awful.
so Heath Ledger will rest in peace, hopefully. But that's a one and done, and there will never be a repeat performance. So it will always be very special and quite the best. But Joaquin Phoenix is doing a great job as well. I think that just shows you the depth of that character they created, and the Batman universe itself too, because it's a very interesting spectrum of morality in the Batman universe, because you essentially have a so-called superhero who is not really a superhero, since he has no superpowers. He's just a rich man and an orphan, who kind of uses his wealth to become this vigilante lord. And then you have kind of, in the villains, you have his alter egos, more or less, right? Villains who are in many ways just like him, but with different kinds of ulterior motives. And in a way, one of the reasons that I liked the recent Batman movie was because it highlighted this aspect above all, that he was very much like the criminal that he fought against, to the point that the Riddler, in fact, ended up identifying with him at a profound level. And that's what finally drives this particular iteration of Batman quite mad, to the point that he reconsiders his entire uh, being and strategy. So it's um, it's an incredible universe. So I love all the Jokers except for Jared Leto, perhaps, who is getting a lot of hate in the chat already. Special kind of
It's fucking
narcissist,
awful.
Mike David calls him. And newbie again appreciates the genius that's Mark Hamill, like us, because imagine he's just doing all of it with his voice. And sometimes, when I get bored, I try to break out in a Joker laughter inspired by Mark Hamill, so I can um, feel better about myself finally. So I would love a clown watch. I think it's a great fit for me as well. Mm, great joke. Mike the Snake. Is that the real Mike the Snake in the chat? If he is, I really, really appreciate you, Mike the Snake. Please jump in, please join us on the panel if you can and if you like. Um, Newbie says Bruce Wayne wore a reverso. Actually, it wasn't a reverso door face. It was a reverso grand date. Two faces, two identities. Yes, it was a reverso grand date. Um, Great watch. You can most visibly you can see it when he helps save that he helps save that guy who is going to reveal his true identity. Let's see. Wait.
Bit off topic, but I remember seeing a video like this accountant actually did like a legitimate breakdown of what it would cost to be Batman for a day, and it was like something like per the per like for like a half day it would cost like 500,000 just for a half a day to be Batman, essentially, because of all of his gear and gadgets and things like that.
Yeah, yeah, unimaginable. But that's why it is fantasy, right? It's a story. It's a comic book.
I want
Um,
to see a realistic version of Batman where he has to like do everything on a budget, try and save Gotham on a budget.
so this is the watch that he was wearing, which is a Gégé Lecoultre um, Grand Date, worn by such luminaries as your pontiff, Archie Chesterfield III, and another YouTube celebrity such as myself, Lord Hellespawn V, as well as Bruce Wayne. Um, but yeah, of course, I think it was a perfect choice by the costume department. Already in Val Kilmer's Batman Forever, Batman was cast to have a reverso on his wrist, and they kind of envisioned it as an earlier version of an Apple Watch, basically, because he could actually flip it over and talk to Alfred, and kind of have a video conversation on his phone. So it was kind of a futuristic or retro futuristic device in the earlier Batman movie. So Newbie says if you watch Mark Hamill do voiceovers, he literally contorts his whole body. Yeah, the guy is. I mean, I think Mike Hamill is, on the one hand, he's very underrated, but also I think his use and abuse of substances really held him back. I think he could have been one of the definitive actors of his era, and hey, still we know him as Luke Skywalker and Joker, and that's a still a great legacy. Um, Mike the Snake, yeah. How have you been? People have been mean to me in the chat, so I've been riding my Ducati mostly. Hey, Mike the Snake, if that's the real Mike the Snake, or even if that's not the real Mike the Snake, I just want to send my love, my respect, and just man, say how much I appreciate you. And I'm glad actually you reduced the amount of time you spent on these live streams, and I hope you're enjoying your new bike. Mookie says, "Yikes!" Probably it was about my fit of laughter there. Uh, hey, I'm a horrible actor, guys. What can I do? Hey,
You mean to
IG
say you're not a
wristwatch.
method actor who maxes out his credit cards from time to time?
Well, I am a method actor, but I haven't gotten into the Joker character so deeply. So maybe I will spend the next few days to really immerse myself in becoming the clown prince of watch YouTube. What do you say? Which reverso is your favorite gold reverso? Alex is asking, and check out his Instagram account at wristwatchholic. Thoughts on the sun and moon. My favorite gold reverso is the pink gold ultra thin with the chocolate brown dial. Um, that's my absolute favorite when it comes to a precious metal reverso. I think it's actually, in many ways, the coolest dress watch, period. I mean, reverso is, but this is the coolest version of it. And with that polo boots inspired strap that is actually made in this case by Casa Fagliano, um, from Cordovan leather. It looks amazing. This is my favorite version of the reverso. When it comes to the sun moon, let's pull up one from Chrono 24. I look. I mean, I actually I like it. When it comes to a day night indicator like this, and a moon phase on the watch. This, I think, uses a modified version of one of the anniversary calibers as well. Um, trying to remember the number of this caliber, but in either case, I like it. I think it's the 60th anniversary caliber that they modified here. Um, I like it. I like it in precious metal. I think of it even more excessively as a dress watch. So I would rather, um, much to my own disappointment, side with Joe on this one, and look for something that is more simple, uncluttered in the dial, just this two-hander with seconds on the sub dial. I prefer that in precious metal reverso. But hey, if you're into the aesthetics of a moon phase, uh, that's a beautiful execution of it. It's very large. I think it would have quite a presence on the reverso case. The night and day indicator itself, it's not just one color that a lot of brands have that peaks out, becomes red or blue from a little peephole, but an entire scene of sun and the moon chasing each other. That's quite romantic. That's very cute. So I like it. I like it. I would rather get uh, pink gold with chocolate brown at that price range, and even cheaper. Um, but I like this one too. What do you think about this particular watch and reversos and precious metal, Joe?
Um, no, I think it's a great watch. A little busy. Um, and I know I say that a lot, uh, for better or worse, but I think when you're putting it on this tiny of a watch, and by no means is it tiny, but I mean is the dial itself is tiny. There's just a lot going on there. Um, but overall, I mean, I think it looks great. I mean, how can you go wrong with rose gold? To be honest with you, rose gold is the new money. Um, how you could dip a dog turd in rose gold, and it'll look good. Uh, I think reversals and precious metals look better. To be honest with you, but if I was more into dress watches, I would probably dive a little deeper into precious metal reversals. To be honest.
And again, as much as I look, if you ask me still, if you're going to have one reverso, I would highly recommend that you get it in stainless steel. One reverso in your collection, I think that's the way to go. But when it comes to the precious metal reversos, especially in this ultra thin version, with this beautiful dark brown, chocolate brown dial, Um, I really like it. I really like it. So it would be a tough choice, but I would rather go with something in stainless steel, honestly, first. And I know for a lot of people it's too quirky to begin with. So why would you have more than one reverso in your collection anyway? In this case, you can say, yes, we are in the 21st century. It's not the 30s anymore. And these are proper dress watches. So why not get it um, in precious metal? Oh, Fats is here and three-hander. Amazing. I think they're following Meech. Fats says, Big Meech front and center on the high chair. And three-hander is coming in with the sheep. And Basil says, is Meech okay? And Newbie says, I will take the quadriptyque if someone else is paying. This is the four-faced reverso that I think, I don't even know how much they sell for. Probably around around $1 million. But this is the one that actually has um, four faces of complication. Also in the two faces of the carrier, it has watch faces. And it's a beautiful object. It's a very poetic piece, and really doesn't really show the kind of um, complicated watch it is just from the face, right? You can have an idea, but you don't really know that this has basically four layers of complication. That was the triptych, by the way, the previous model that had three faces. Um, this one, quadriptych, still, when you look at the face of the watch, you might just see a triple calendar of some sort with tourbillon, I guess, um, skeletonized dial, but you're in for the big show once things start opening up. This could be an interesting thing to own, but of course, um, 10 pieces worldwide with the price set at actually 1.35 million euro. So it's quite the price tag there. 300 says, I like the new channel name. Hey, thank you, man. And thanks for being here. It's been a while. It's been a while. Welcome back. And Big Meat says, duck as fast as my little legs can run. Still. Can't lose Ben. And Newbie says 1.5 million, I think. And I think, yeah, 135 in euro more or less translates to 1.5 million US dollars. And 300 says, right on cue. Back in the day, Meech, yesterday. Meech, you lost months ago. Big Meech, you want to respond to any of these allegations, accusations?
Oh, I don't know. Wherever I go, they somehow manage to find me. It's I don't know. They're on the hunt for me.
Do you, do you think, do you feel triggered?
No, that windbag Ben. He keeps pounding on my door. The big Bigfoot. Keeps trying to
Hmm.
get into my house.
Mm, that's not nice. That's not nice. How will you chase them away?
Well, I mean, I'm like Green Room's quail. As long as my little legs keep running around, he can't catch me.
Mm. And 300 says, I've been off YouTube about a month. I missed all the drama. but there hasn't been, for the last month at least, there hasn't been any drama on my part. I'm just running my channel, expanding it bit by bit, producing content on a daily basis, running live streams at least once a day. Uh, it's great. 300
I mean, the only
says
drama is Oshin still has an open bar tab, so to speak. That's about the only thing that's been going on.
he has a
Which I don't get. I don't get that. But
yeah.
whatever.
Ocean has a drinking problem among many other things. I mean, the guy is allegedly a known uh, con man and a scam artist. He's a known anti-Semite and racist in so many other ways, and he just can't keep his word. He constantly writes checks that he cannot cash.
Quite
Um,
literally, I
uh,
hear in some cases.
yeah, yeah, and I mean, I chose that very, very, uh, carefully. So that's exactly who he is. Christopher Negroni says, tried on the Type 21 today, Chef's Kiss. I think I still like Type 20, and I still prefer Type 20 as a classic design. I'm glad they're keeping something along those lines in the Breguet lineup. Um, but Type 21 is really not for me. Although aesthetically, the pink gold version of that, speaking of how pink gold seems to sing for Joe, I tried that on as well in pink gold in the Breguet boutique in Beverly Hills here. It was beautiful, I have to admit. It was really, really a sexy watch. I can't seem to find it on the web page. Let's see. And it's actually, for a gold Breguet watch, it's not all that expensive, but we all know why in general um the Type 20, Type 21 line is not that expensive, because at the end of the day, it's the movement is holding them back. This is the Type 21 in rose gold. One thing I love about these watches is those um, the leather straps with the deployant buckles at the end. They're designed in a way that fits flush with the case, so that adds a very sturdy and luxurious aspect to the look and feel of the watch, and it sits so nicely in the wrist. You can kind of see it here, so it's basically like an integrated end link. Those leather straps at the ends, they just sit perfectly flush um, with the lugs and with the curvature of the case there. And of course, again, that's pink gold case and chocolate brown dial combination is quite nice as well. And they used to also have a 3800, the Type 20, in a limited edition with the glossy blue dial in pink gold. Um, these are gorgeous as well. Yeah, love these watches. Stainless steel is still the way to go, if you ask me, for what is supposed to be a sports watch. But I understand, yeah, I understand the drive for luxury at certain points, but you can see where it can take you from this little ding right there, for example. And I'm sure it didn't take much to put that on there in a pink gold watch. Um, 300 says spooking Negroni in the house. And 300 says the drama was not on your part. Thank you. And all the other pish. Ocean money all over the globe. Yeah, the rent is due. Ocean, the rent is due. We're coming to collect. Fat says, spot on. The sheep whisper, as long as my sheep love me, I have everything. If I get to give a little lovin' to a few sexy sheep, pause, every now and then, even better. And Christopher Negroni says it's a little big, but the design is great. Hey, Type 20 in the secondary market, then Negroni is a solution to all your problems because Type 20 has a 39 millimeter case compared to um, what I think is a 42 millimeter case size in Type 21. No, even 42. Okay. Yeah, so clearly, as someone who likes the Daytona like you do, Christopher, um, I think 39, a Type 20, which also goes by the reference number 3800, would serve you well. 300 says upvote. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Please like the stream. Please upvote. It really helps. And Negroni says, ooh, it's 300 with all the accounts. And 300 says, rose gold and chocolate dial belong together like fish and chips. I agree. It's
Fish and chips.
it's a beautiful, beautiful combination, and it makes for a great watch in this case. And it's a little larger. If you're a fan of the Type 20, this will strike you as being a little larger, but um, you know, it's a nice watch. I mean, it has, I think it has a. Let me see what kind of movement the Type 21 has. It's 584Q. So 582 uh, is the Type 20 movement. That's a automatic flyback chronograph movement that has Lemania base 1350. 584, 48 power, 48-hour power reserve, classic automatic chronograph movement. 584 is, again, a flyback chronograph movement. It makes for a thicker, bigger watch, which is not necessarily preferable. Same power reserve. It has, of course, the date function in this case, the Aéronaval, the entry-level Type 20 that has been discontinued in 2018, did not have a date window. And yeah, 584Q. Yeah, I don't think it really improves much on the Type 20 movement, which is the 582. I think it has a silicon balance spring and an escapement, but beyond that, not much of anything different. So it is It is what it is. Yeah, moving on. Negroni, that's slander, but I'll let you off. I know you're triggered. And Negroni says, sue me. Things are heating up in the chat, man. I I told you I don't create drama, but hey, as a spectator, I do enjoy it once every so often, as long as I'm not involved in it. Rose gold is nice looking, but soft as putty. I agree, though it goes rather well with the brown dial. 300 says, what with your broke backside? And all the account says, nope, not 300. It takes genius, implying that 300 is not a genius. I told you things are heating up. 100%. Definitely the only problem with gold is that it's chocolate soft, but I personally prefer yellow. And Negroni says, you're hilarious, sad person. And 300 is laughing back at Negroni. The only thing that's sad is your spruiking attempts. Full on John says, 300 feeling froggy? Take a leap, pup. Welcome back, Full on John. Nice to see you all. Guys, I think I linked the stream early on and pinned it there, but I'm sending the link out again if you want to join conversation and talk about the watches that you love or love to hate, and the watches that you love and that everyone else seems to hate. So feel free to
I
join
mean,
the panel. Yes.
you could add Ming into this conversation, a completely underrated high horology brand that rivals Patek Philippe and Lange, but people just want to hate on it for some reason.
Tell me, I mean, look, tell me what I should actually love or what you love about Ming first, and I will go from there.
I'm gonna be honest. I gotta be honest with you. I completely jumped on the hype train when Tim, JJ, and Marco were spruiking the hell out of him.
Hmm. Okay, so what were they spruiking about it? Like what do
Well,
you actually
long
like it
story
about?
short, I
For
kind of walked
purpose.
in towards the tail end of this conversation, but long story short, Marco was really hyping it up, and rightfully so. If we're not looking at the the gray market prices, they're actually pretty good for what they are. If you can get one at retail, of course, but that's like next to impossible. But Marco was hyping them up, and then he's like, "Oh, the next FP Journe, they're great independents." And then they were all gonna buy them together, I believe. And I think Tim's the only one who actually bought one, and he still doesn't have the fucking thing to this day. It's been a year. I think it's almost been like a year to this day, just about, and he still hasn't gotten his first Ming. And I think he ordered. I could be wrong, but I think he ordered a second one, which is probably gonna be another year wait. And I asked Tim about it. I'm like, Tim, like, hasn't it been a year since you've got that Ming? He's
Mm.
like, yeah, at this point, I don't even care about it anymore.
Yeah, I mean, look, if you don't know anything about watches and if you don't know what you care about, I guess you don't have to care about it anymore. I don't know. I
I
mean,
think their
look,
movements, I mean, their design looks good. I mean, not, well, their movement designs look good for, like, again, if you
mm,
can get it at retail. I think they look good.
okay.
Their
No, I
design's a
mean,
little bit quirky, a little bit futuristic, but would I pay the 5 grand premium on them? Absolutely not. No.
I would not pay $1 for them. I would actually take them for free and maybe just pass it on and sell for profit. But I think that watch looks god awful to me. I never understood what it is about it that gets it so hyped up, and no one, including you, just on this attempt, no one was able to tell me what what should be attractive about them at any level. Um, you're saying something about their movement. What about their movement? What about their movement design that's so interesting, or that's so innovative, that's so high quality? What is it?
Oh, it's been a while, but why don't you pull one up, Lord? Pull up a Ming.
Okay. By the way, Lolex, I'm probably the last person to ask whether I can help you bulk up. We are in the same city, so I would be happy to train with you. But I do too much cardio and calisthenics, um, you know, running, burpees, push-ups, dips, um, stuff like that. It's extremely boring, and it really doesn't help you bulk up. It just helps you stay lean and in shape. So you
Lord,
might
you
have
strike me as the
to.
type to do Pilates.
I don't mind. I actually love Pilates and yoga, as long as it doesn't come with any of the ideological and metaphysical fluff. As a form of exercise, I actually adore yoga and Pilates. Um, Future Lolex says maybe I can fill out my big suits. Start eating ice cream by the pint. And Lolex's big Vegas suit says, "Come on, dudes, enough." And 300
Yeah,
says,
get
Lolex,
on the
oh,
American diet. Get on the American diet. Get burgers and ice cream.
I got my suit of butterbean. I think it fits me like a glove. You're all haters. Haters, haters. 300. So Ming, yeah, which model should I be pulling up now?
Just pull one up just in general.
Stop this, man. Like, tell me one thing about this brand that I can hold on
I
to. I
personally
mean,
like the designs. I really do. I mean, if we're not talking
well,
about the
what
horological
design?
movements, I think they're nice.
Which one? I'm not trying to be
Oh, I will. I
unnecessary.
take
I
that
know
back.
nothing specific about like the model numbers. So you have to tell me one thing, and we go with that.
Mm.
No?
Hold on, just let me look one up. I know Ming actually took a pretty hard hit though when their hour markers wouldn't line up. I know that much about him, which I think that's what lost him a lot of
Mm.
the public's eye. And it was actually pretty fucking embarrassing too, because it wasn't just by a little, it was by miles. Like it was atrocious.
So you're looking up the model number? Again, I'm not trying
Yeah, I'm
to
just
be
looking up right
excessively
now.
difficult. I just want to there
No,
because
no, I'm looking up one right now.
I pulled up their
Look up a
webpage, and
Ming 1703.
1703, because I pulled up the the page, and there's just too many models. 1703, 17.
That would be like their GMT essentially.
Okay, not here. Maybe in the archive. 17.
Yeah, for sale for
Okay.
$5,999. If I remember right, these were only $2,000 watches.
Blue. Which one?
Yeah,
Blue
that
dial,
maroon
brilliant.
one right there. The maroon. Up.
Maroon. This one. Okay.
I actually like
2000.
it because, well, again, it's like an underrated maroon color.
Mm-hmm. The
But I like how they did the GMT. I like how clean this actually looks. For a GMT, like you would have like that third, well, you would have four hands. Rather than do that, they did what Cartier does, get rid of the seconds hand, and then they would just have that wheel there in the inside track for your GMT, if I'm understanding it correctly. I actually think it makes
Yeah.
for a very clean look, personally.
Very clean look, except all those ugly index markers and numbers, and the zero especially.
I agree.
Uh,
The zero just seems really out of place on this, doesn't it? Like it. I mean, I can get past the 3, 6, and 9, but that zero just seems really weird.
like you said, you already have a burgundy dial, which is rare. you decorated it really nicely, with those grooves on the outer dial, and then this sort of eagle eye kind of decoration, or like
Yes,
a
it's got two different dials
people-like
essentially,
thing.
doesn't it?
Yeah, which is
Yeah.
beautiful. Like, why try so hard to be different after that? Because it's already, I think, quite different and beautiful that way. Why not use that to a full effect? But yeah, it's a brand that's a trier, man. That they try too hard
For
to
like
look.
two, I think these were 2000. I could be completely wrong when they first came out for pre-orders. I
Mhm.
think they were 2000. I'd spend the 2000 on something like this. Would I spend the 5,000 for it? Absolutely not. Um,
Like, why? Having said that, you wouldn't spend more than 1,200 on the Hermes HO8 or the Mont Blanc Heritage Pulsograph. What makes you say that you would spend $2,000 on something like this? Like,
one, I
what's
think
so special about
these were
this?
very limited edition. I think they only made I can't remember, but I think it was under 3,000 units were actually made. And they did this style color in two different variants, one maroon, one blue, if I'm remembering correctly. So they were split up essentially in half. Two, it's a very different, like I said, it's a very different dial layout. Like you don't see too many watches that would have two different dial, essentially, two different dial textures on a
I
watch.
mean, honestly, Joe, the limited edition aspect is completely uninteresting to me. It doesn't phase me. It doesn't interest me. It doesn't intrigue me, because a limited edition of something I don't like and something that is a bad piece of design that's trying too hard is still that. That they can produce 10 of them and it will still not be valuable to me. Um, so not sure what to
I
say.
also believe these were like 38.9 mils, which made them attractive to me. Um, Given my fucking twigs of a
Well,
wrist.
Hey
This
man, how are you doing, man? Welcome
I'm
back.
good. How are you?
Nice to see you.
Yeah, you shaved.
I did. Yeah, sorry. Did I betray the cause?
Nah, it's okay, man. I like wet shaving myself, but
Good.
I'm lazy.
I had some time for myself today, so I took that time to shave my beard off.
Yeah, okay. Don't let me interrupt you guys about this ugly Ming.
Okay, that's exactly why I said, like, I love the fact this came in at this second, because help me pour some more hatred on this piece of horology.
I mean, it doesn't have minute markers, which I hate. You
Mhm.
know,
It doesn't have a
it's kind of
second
plain.
hand. It doesn't have
It's
minute markers. What does it have?
it's too sophisticated for its own good, in my opinion.
Right.
It's a matter
It
of
is.
taste, though. You know.
I
It is
can't
trying
remember
too
if
hard.
on the early gens these were in house. I can't remember if these were in house or ETAs.
Does it say anything um, about the
Because I
movement
think
in this
these
write-up?
latest generations, some of them are in house.
Oh, this is Celita SW330-1 automatic movement. Yeah, look, I mean, there are some interesting things. It's a titanium case, so very light, 38 millimeter, nice and wearable. Um, it's I mean, there are few things, but otherwise, like,
I
I did
think
a
this is the
research
model that
burgundy
ended
one.
up having the fucked up hour markers too, like where they would not match. They were
Mm,
completely way off.
yeah. Speaking of GMTs, Christopher Negroni asks, do you like the new Seiko GMTs?
Yeah, I don't like them at all.
Okay. All right. Now,
Uh,
now, now we will talk. So
okay.
Seiko 5 Sports just came out with a new GMT watch. It's like it's like the old generation of GMT Masters in Rolex, right? So it's not an independent jumping hand. You use the rotating bezel to read, to be able to read or set a second time zone. And these are the three color combinations that exists. One blue dial that has the black and blue bicolor bezel coordination, which kind of replicates or echoes with Rolex's so-called Batman GMT Master. There's the black one with black and gray, and there's the very Seiko one, which is orange with a black bezel insert and orange numbers. Why do you not like them? This
Okay, so my first watch was the SKX 207. You know that?
I have one. Yeah, I love it.
Okay, so it was my first watch that I got 9 years ago while I was going over. I was recovering from a tough breakup, and the
Mhm.
SKX, like, comforted me and got me into watches. And for me, it was a perfect. I mean, it had a shitty movement and it had but it was a perfect watch. And I think that they upgraded it. I mean, they discontinued it and they made like a Psycho 5 bullshit, no
Yes.
crown, no screw down crown, no soul like the other one had. So that's why I don't like it.
Okay. But even this particular one, they did that kind of has more aesthetic cues of the SKX series that we so love, right? I have an SKX 007, I have an SKX 009, so the Pepsi bezel diver with the blue dial. And to me, this was very exciting because when you look at this watch, you do get the SKX vibes, even though it's a Seiko 5 watch.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I do like that they introduced a very usable, very useful movement in caliber 4R34, which has that fourth hand for the GMT hour or
Hmm.
for the second time zone. Um, the price point again is great, right under $500 to bring more people into the hobby. So it's it kind of yeah, it got me on board a little. It got me excited about Seiko at this level again. I don't know if I would buy one, but even the way they here, this is Seiko's own website, right? And they wrote in this write up SKX Sports Style GMT series. So
Yeah.
they know exactly what they're doing, right? They are trying to tug at our heartstrings. They're trying to win us back.
Yes, but they need to remove that stupid five logo. I don't like it. If it didn't have a five logo,
Mhm.
I would like it much more.
I mean, look, I'm not a big fan of the logo itself, but I do love what it represents because, as you know, Seiko 5 is not just a random brand name. It actually stands for five foundations they have for the basic watch they built, which is an automatic movement, the date function, uh, reliable water resistance, so it is a proper sports watch, the crown at 4 o'clock, and a durable case construction, and ideally bracelets as well. Again, appropriate to the price point, right? We're not
Mhm.
blowing things out of proportion here. So I think at that level, I like the Seiko 5 branding. Whether I like the logo itself, I'm not sure, and I agree with you. One thing that I also like about these is uh, okay. One what I liked about SKX 007 is that it was so pure and simple. That the case has a very, it's polished, but it has a very subtle vintage vibe, and especially something that's exaggerated by these naked loom plots, right? As if it's a vintage diver, right? The
Exactly.
syringe hands, of course, add to it. So I have a lot of that excitement back when I look at this watch. Of course, it's just a date function, not day dates, which is something excessive and extravagant, and it's so bad that it's good, right? It's like a movement and function that they associate with like the highest end of a certain moment in Rolex, but here it is at the most accessible Seiko, so it becomes right.
Yeah.
um, and yeah, I mean, we can't always get what we want, but this gives us a little bit of what we have been missing since they introduced Seiko 5 and nixed SKX.
Mhm.
So I'm excited. I'm excited.
I must say, the more I look at the black one, it's starting to grow on me. It's it does look nice, and I love the red GMT hand, and I mean, it could be a great watch. I mean, what's the movement? They are probably non-regulated or have shit accuracy and
Well,
problem
that's
with the yeah with the alignment.
yeah. I mean, we are not really asking for accuracy and precision from Seiko 5 or SKX range, are we?
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, the movement is a caliber they call 4R34.
Okay. I know that one. Yeah. No, it's a good watch for sure. I mean, for someone who's beginning.
Yeah, it would be great. I think that's, again, I'm excited for the hobby by and large, rather than for who knows, but um it's not necessarily for that. I'm really excited that you have just like SKX provided that entry point for diver watches and generated all this excitement in the community. This can be something of a similar thing for GMT watches, and
That's
and and to me that's fascinating.
good point. Yeah, good point. I mean, it's how much? What's the price? Do you know what's the price?
475 US dollars. Um,
So it's an affordable GMT.
yeah, it's very affordable.
Yeah.
Um, I want to read some of the chats because there's something interesting. JJ is here, Gentlemen's Hangout podcast. I like these new GMTs, but I think the Longines GMTs are nicer. The Longines Spirit Zulu Time is a great watch, but of course it's like 3 times the price of these, if I'm not mistaken. But correct me if I'm wrong. Chris says I agree. I hate the whole Seiko 5 thing. The old SKX 007 009 was so much better and had proper water resistance. Yes, 200 meters, an actual ISO rating and certification. Um, Full on John says, I love it, but I wish it had sapphire. Excited to see what microbrands do with the movements. And Gildo says, Alan says, I'm not an SKX fan. These GMTs are for them. Citizen Pro Master NY 0040 for me. Juiced up. Uh, uh, Speaking of Japanese watches, could you pull up Citizen Tsuyosa? I think it has good values for the price. We can for sure. Let's do that. Um, but until then, I want to read. It's twice the price of the SKX sports style. The SKX was a certified diving watch. Yeah, ISO diver. And Chris says, I can relate to your story. The 007 was my first watch that I bought while I was recovering from surgery and transitioning from military. Man, when you said transitioning, I thought something else was going on, but got me into watches. Nice to hear your story. Um, thank Fike, you said military had to look twice there. Okay. So I wasn't the only one. Um, yeah, I had a hip surgery the week after I separated. So it was all at the same time. The watch helped me get through that time. Yeah, that watches can help you do that. My root beer really inspired me when I had this cardiac episode where I had to spend 2 nights at the hospital. So it wasn't a very pleasant time in my life, but I loved wearing my watch through it.
Yeah.
Um, Another wacky fanboy hiding out behind the keyboard with a lot to say. Yeah, people were talking shit. JJ, I tried to intervene sometimes, but it's hard to rein it in sometimes. And says yes, the Spirit Zulu time is 5 times the price of the Seiko GMT. Alan Gildo says minus 90 seconds. Yes, I mean that's Seiko SKX for you. If you're looking for precision and accuracy, this is not this is not the watch you should go for. But sometimes that look. Uh, I'm the same person. I love high horological pieces that have incredible movement architecture, great hand finishing, uh, have standards that even supersedes COSC certification, chronometer certification, double assembly, and whatever nonsense that Lange und Söhne has. I love it. But I also love entry level Seiko, which is a very different kind of watch, but it has its own story. It inspires another kind of romanticism for me, which is about simplicity, which is about usability, which is about reliability, and which is about accessibility, which is a watch that everyone, with some measure of sacrifice for some, to be granted, right? A few $100s for a watch is still a lot of money for some people, obviously. But in theory, it's a watch that most people can get, and I love that. I cannot hate on that. I love it. The simplicity, the durability, the accessibility, the reliability. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing about entry level Seikos. No worries, JJ says. I'd love to see them reveal their troll selves on a stream. I couldn't ever possibly take them seriously. They will never do that, JJ, and you know that it won't happen. Eddie says, upvote guys, please subscribe if you haven't. Hey, I don't even have to say it myself. Thank you, Eddie. We are about 2.5 hours into this wonderful stream. We started talking about watches that we love and everyone else seemingly hates, but suddenly we are talking about watches that we love and we love almost unconditionally and that we are very excited about. And Seiko can do that for you. Seiko can bring that excitement. So if you haven't subscribed, please do. Hit that like button, hit the bell icon while you're at it. It really helps me. It really gives me a little more exposure as I try to get to 1,000 subscribers. It matters a lot to me. And I already appreciate your presence and support, your engagement from the chat. You're already helping a lot. But if you can tell your friends, spread the word, share the link on other platforms, I would love that. I would really appreciate that. In either case, until I get to 1,000 subscribers and until I get monetized, you can always support the channel and encourage me in continuing this work of the live streams, of all the content that I create. You can always consider a PayPal contribution, and that's at lordhellespontv@gmail.com, lordhellespontv@gmail.com. I also have a Cash App, $LHVVV, $LHVVV. The information is crawling in the ticker and is also available in the video description. Thomas G says, guys, what do you think of the Breitling Super Ocean Automatic 4244? Very nice on rubber and good bang for the buck. Has Rolex Panerai elements. Let's check it out. I like the Super Ocean Heritage. Um,
I had one actually. I had one. I sold it.
Heritage?
Yeah, the one. This one, blue dial on 44 millimeters on bracelet. Very, very cool watch.
Mm-hmm.
But I bought it when I was in a manic state,
Okay.
So I somehow ended up selling it, but it's a great watch. This one, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I really like it, Thomas. Really like it. What do you think?
To me, I like the Super Ocean Heritage 2 for me, and I know what this is for, right? This is a proper tool watch, so no hate on me on that basis, but usually anything above 40 um, wears too large for me. I have not tried on this specific watch, but in 44 it would be a proper dinner plate on my wrist. So I don't
Hmm.
think I can pull that off.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but in 42, I think I can manage it. I think it's I don't like the big Arabics actually,
Mm.
but everything else, I think on a rubber bracelet, this watch this watch could be great. What kind of movement does it have in it? Do you know this?
No, I don't know. Let's check.
Let's see. Um, Breitling 17. Let's see. And is that the same in the 44? I wonder.
No idea.
Breitling 17. Caliber corner. Breitling caliber B17. It's based on an ETA 2827 2824-2 um 38-hour power reserve. Yeah, it's in Super Ocean 42. Let's see if the Super Ocean 44 has a different one. Um, let's see. That's a proper watch. Yeah, that also has the 17. I mean,
Mm.
look, it's not always a drawback, huh? It's an ETA movement can be easily serviced by any any halfway decent watchmaker, honestly. So you don't have to depend on Breitling for the entire lifetime of your ownership.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I mean, again, I'm not a huge fan of the dial, but I actually like um, Breitling divers. I think they're underrated. My vote would be for the Super Ocean Heritage. Um, where is it?
Yeah, JJ is talking about Super Ocean Heritage too.
Yeah, I love that watch, man. On a mesh bracelet, man. And I know it's again, it's not a watch that I can easily pull off um, because of the size. But let me see, Super Ocean.
Did you know, Lord, that there was a 38 millimeter version of the Super Ocean Heritage?
Oh, there was.
Yeah, I had it. It was very popular in Japan. I bought it from Japan.
Nice. Makes sense.
Yeah, yeah.
I almost bought a
Uh,
Super Ocean early, like very early in my career, because they were cheap at the time.
I love. I also love how Joe refers to his watch collecting as a career. This I like this watch. I really do. Also, by the way, the as far as I know, Super Ocean Heritage has the same movement as Tudor Pelagos, right? B20. Yeah, it's the same caliber as Tudor MT5612, which is the caliber, which is the movement inside the Tudor Pelagos.
Mm.
Yeah, and I especially on a mesh bracelet, I just love it, man. It's a very, very sexy watch.
Yeah.
Sorry, JJ, I missed a few things. LHV, send me the link to your channel on IG message. I will. Oh, thank you, JJ. I will do that. I'll do that right now, actually. Uh, and it seems Big Meech sent me a video as well. Oh, it's the watch that's giving him wet dreams again, huh?
Yeah, I'm gonna pass on that one.
Yeah. Why? What was wrong with it?
Oh, from '91, the bracelet shot, and it's got the holes case. I'm not particularly
Oh,
fond of the holes case.
oh man, you really don't know what you're talking about for the most part, Joe. The whole case is where it's at, man. The whole
Which watch is
case.
that?
This is. I'll show it now. It's in my um, Instagram. JJ, by the way, I just sent you the link to the channel. Thank you um, for offering that. And I'm gonna share here.
Mm.
It's 16570 holes case. Apparently, the bracelet is a little old. What year is it from? It's pre
91.
2000. Yeah, 91. Okay,
Isn't that
nice.
like your birth birth year watch or something?
No, my birth year is '95.
Oh,
Oh,
really? It's
Yeah,
a
so it's close,
baby.
but not quite.
No, it's a baby. Nice. I like it. I like it. Again, especially with your collection, Joe, I would go with the white polar dial because, a Rolex with a black dial, you have the best version in a no date Submariner already, and you have the Explorer too, like Explorer 39 millimeter. I mean, um, you have the Yachtmaster two tone with the black dial. How much more you need in terms of a black dial?
That's the thing, though. The black dial. That's what makes a black dial so unique. It's versatile. You can use it in all situations. A white dial is just, I don't know. It's harder. I wouldn't say harder. It's just a little bit more trickier sometimes.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, look, black is always a color that you can use as a blank canvas, right? And it's something that you can put into any outfit. You can put together with anything at all. So it is what it is, but it's also too common, and you already have, for those occasions, you already have your black dial Rolex watches. I still recommend that, but I know you're not a big fan of white dials and you think that's the polar dial is too hyped up. um, but it is what it is. um, ETA, ETA Thomas G says, JJ says the Super Ocean Heritage 2 is pretty nice. Yes, that's I completely agree. It doesn't have the Arabic numerals. Thomas G says cool cheap summer watch. B20 movement as well. The Heritage, the B20 is the same movement as the Tudor MT5612, which is the movement in the Pelagos. So that's nice modified movement. 38 with small seconds was the Japanese version apparently, and this says exactly. And Bruce G, get the whole case and change your own straps, Joe. It's I mean that's what I do. That's what I like. But Joe also hates the idea of wearing his Rolexes with leather straps, with suede straps. NATO strap, I think we can get him on board, but anything beyond that, he's not going to do
Well,
it.
also,
So
I mean, it gives me a reason to visit my Rolex boutique on a pretty casual basis, you know, because I have to do
you
all my strap swapping.
Yeah, just to quickly address this, always enjoy your stream. Thank you. Can't keep up with all the creators. That's all right. As long as you keep up with Archie Luxury and me, we'll be fine. What happened between you and Archie? Nothing happened, actually. It's just Tim and Bear orchestrated my excommunication from the stream, and we're here. There's nothing that happened between me and Archie. It has nothing to do with me or Archie. I have done nothing wrong. Archie hasn't done anything that was wrong against me. Some people just didn't want me in the stream, and they got what they want. Alan Gildo says, get the polar dial for Explorer 2 16570. You can get black in anything. Explorer 2 is known for the polar dial. I agree. I mean, for me, Explorer 2 has two iconic versions. 1655, Freccione, Steve McQueen, whatever you call it. The version that Tudor cribbed for the new Black Bay Pro, or in the 5-digit and the current edition as well of the polar dial, which has 2 points of origin, of course. One, the Oyster Perpetuals that Norgay and Hillary team had on their ascent to Mount Everest, those were with white dials. And Explorer 2 16570 was actually on the wrist of the Norwegian explorer, Erling Kage, who reached on his feet North Pole, South Pole, and the climax of Mount Everest. And he actually was wearing an Explorer 2 with a polar dial, which he had properly engraved on the case back to mark his achievements. So it's a good story. It's a great watch, and I would go with the polar dial. I know it's the predictable choice at this point. I know this is what the collectors community values at this point in time. But to the broader community of people, when they think of a Rolex watch, they think of a black dial. It's all too common. You already have it in three different versions. If you're gonna get another Rolex, get one that is different. Horology Lover says, remember all the people who were supposedly your friends? Haven't seen them around for a while. I wonder why. Hey, that's a long conversation, but I know, I know this is laughing, but I know that each and every one in the chat and these two people who are with me on the panel, this I know this does this on his own terms, so I don't expect them to be here every day at all. But Joe, he's here mostly every day. A lot of people in the chat, like Thomas Broadbent, like Thomas G, like Eddie Fu, like Fats 300 who came back. Dennis K, Love Maldives, Full on John, Four Nines Fine, Corrado Galizia, Newbie, Mike David, M36 Speed, JB, Jimmy. There's so many people that come every day. Marco and JJ started coming as well. It's okay. I don't expect an unconditional oath or bond of loyalty or friendship, but I know there are a lot of people here who actually do consider me a friend, and I consider them friends as well. And yeah, we have a little community here. So as long as other people don't come to disturb it, we'll be just fine, and we'll keep growing slowly but surely. Um, this says, today I'll go out for a walk in the sun. Sounds beautiful, especially in the part of the world where you are. I'll spend some time where people gather and go about their daily. Okay, wait, this is not your actual account.
It's not me, man.
It does sound like a good idea, though. No,
Yeah, it is. It is.
and you're in the most beautiful part of the world. Go out, enjoy the sun. Um,
Yeah.
Fat says, keep focused, Paul, one day at a time. Patek Connoisseur says, great idea, make sure you have it. He says it isn't me, but thanks. Fat, sorry. I'm embarrassing myself, but I love you,
It's
dude.
okay.
And it's not my business to give you any advice, but sometime in the sun doesn't sound so bad and outrageous, right?
Of course, man. Of course.
And user unknown says, you go about this whole YouTube watch thing the correct way. Hey, I did it my way. I don't know if it's correct or not. I'm just doing it the best way I know it, staying honest and true to myself. That's the only way to do it. But thank you for the nice words. You're saying objective, informative, and trying not to get into the drama. It's refreshing. Thank you. Man, some of these trolls, the thing they bring in is so vicious. Appreciate all of you. Bruce G says, thank you for being here too. Gentlemen's Hangout, Lord Tim AC3, not Marcelo though. Hey, the buck has to stop somewhere, right? Big Meat says, keep blackmailing me to show up. I don't know. I don't have anything on you, Joe. I don't have anything
Send
on
help, guys. Send help.
you. Guys, trust me, I'm not holding these people hostage. They actually come here out of their free will. I don't know why, but I don't
Lord
force
lets us
them.
out of his basement during his streams. We're chained to the desk.
Right. That's why Joe has to sit on that shitty chair with a pile of books under him. Marcus says, JJ, come back. User unknown. Also good. Gotta give you credit for being the first not to praise. What is to praise with this? I've never understood. His videos are, granted, better than some loser screaming at his screen from his living room, with a makeshift setup into the screen of his laptop, right? I mean, granted, his videos are more artistic than that. Beyond that, I never understood the hype, man. The guy is a barely functioning alcoholic, an anti-Semite, a con artist, and just, again, writes literally checks that he can't cash, talks a lot of shit, but anyone could basically fold them like napkin, like origami, or like a lawn chair, whatever you want to call it. So it's fascinating. Spill the beans, spill the beans. Hey, yes, Joe, stay in your lane. Stay in your lane. You don't want me to leak this very important personal information that I have on
In 48 hours, are you gonna go public?
you. What is that again? Say it again.
You gonna go public? Right? 'Cause I don't want you to go public.
Jesus. Um, That wasn't such a bad impression, though. I have to give you credit. Marco says, "Okay, I'm going back to sleep. Good night." And JJ says, "People come because you talk watches and have knowledge." What a revolutionary idea, right? You have a channel where people talk about the actual subject and increase their knowledge together, because I learn a lot while I talk with people here. I learn from them. I learn with their help. I learn through the questions that they ask. It is what it is. Um, Fat says Joe has married Betty. I fucking knew it. Hey, this is only in America, man. Everything is possible, and that's actually not the information I would leak. I think that's the new frontier. I think Joe will do something revolutionary. Um, institute a new form of relating man to his fellow beasts.
I'm gonna
Look
lobby
forward
for
to it.
bestiality.
The shepherd says, Lord has pictures of me caught in an compromising, I think you want to say, position with a gorgeous sheep. I cannot, I can neither confirm nor deny.
Velcro gloves.
I can neither confirm nor deny. Joe is taking the land of the free to a whole new level. I just want to talk watches. And Tim,
Team one.
that's great. Um, so do you have a watch that you love, but everyone else seemingly hates? And maybe deep down there, you hate a little bit too, but you just can't keep away. Or you love it so much, but there's something that you don't like about it, and somehow you end up not getting one. Do you have a watch like that?
I have one. I'll show you.
Okay,
I'm
that's
not
even
sure
better.
everybody hates it, but it's not that. This Seiko Orange Monster. You know this
Nice.
one?
Yeah, I do. I do.
It's the second generation. Well, it's a very loud watch.
Yeah, the orange dial especially.
Yeah. I'm not. I mean, I also had a Doxa 300T orange, but it's not as loud as this one. This one is like with it has like shark teeth indices.
Yes, yes.
Very loud.
The bezel itself is also a very industrial kind of design, which makes it easy to grab. Of course, it's utilitarian too, but it's a
Yeah.
brutal piece.
It's exactly. It's very brutal, a brutal piece. So it's called the monster. That. So even the nickname is polarizing.
Hmm.
So you just asked me, and the first thing that came up to my head, but I don't think there's something that others really hate. I mean, people don't hate it, but it's polarizing. I mean,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think that's a good way to put it. Some people love it. People who love it really love it. As you can see in the chat, everyone came for for it. Basically said, I love it. No stupid Cyclops. That orange is the best. That's a beauty. Um, and Gentleman's Hangout says, JJ, I love my Unimatic Masena Lab collab. I think he had it on his Instagram, so I can show you that. I think honestly, um, I I love that monster, but
mhm.
I understand how it can be polarizing, because as much as I like orange, um, the orange dial is not my favorite thing about that watch. I have to be honest with that.
Yeah.
Um, like I like an orange accent like this, for example, right? This
Hmm.
is that Unimatic Masena Lab.
Nice trap.
Oh no, this is not the same thing. This is I thought it was the same watch on a different. Not me. It's on JJ's account. Um, but yeah, I like look. I mean, on a dive watch, if you are gonna have any eccentric color, orange, which has a certain visibility in um, in the conditions for which that watch is made for, um, that makes sense. But that much orange, I have to say, I don't hate it, but it does get to me, and that's one reason why I don't own that watch. But I like the indices, you know, the shark teeth. I
Yeah,
actually love that bezel, and it's a utilitarian thing too because it's much easier to grab and manipulate than just a simple circular, you know, coin edge kind of design.
yeah.
Um, yeah, what happened to Beyond Time today? I thought he was
I know
supposed
what
to
happened.
Beyond Prime, Beyond
Do you know
Crime.
who that is?
No, I don't actually. Again,
I know who it is. Yeah.
I don't actually know. Look, I mean, I watch Nicholas. I tune on into Archie Luxury live stream. I watch a little bit of Bill Sanders, watch Art Psy, but I'm not a huge consumer of watch YouTube otherwise.
So
So
this
tell me
guy
what.
is named Brian. Brian Bardsley is a
Okay.
nice guy. He used to go on the streams and then he started doing his own shtick, like something like podcasts.
Okay.
And he said that he will have a TPG on his podcast,
Okay.
and he was hyping it up for a long time, like a few weeks. And TPG stood him up. He ghosted him. So
Okay.
poor guy, you know.
Wow. I
Yeah,
just
that
want,
sucked.
you know, that's why like I don't have many guests on this channel that are arranged properly and in advance. But when I do, I try not to announce them because I know that people people can be really flaky on the internet. Um,
Yeah,
you know, even people who have big names, you know, if they can if they can afford to stand you up, if you don't have um, anything to return that lack of courtesy, right? You know, if you have half a million subscribers or a million subscribers, then they can't stand you up because you can make a video about that simply and get as many viewers, if not more. If you're a smaller channel, I guess this guy, Beyond Time, is a smaller channel. Um, you, anyone can easily get away with making a promise that they can't keep, and um, yeah, you can't explain it to anyone.
yeah.
It's sad. Vince Fine Art says, "Hey, hey."
Hey Vince, good to see you. Honestly, no, TPG is not that interesting anyway.
Yeah, I mean, look, I like the TPG that Watch Nicholas talks about. The real life character doesn't really interest me that much, but the way Watch Nicholas talks about TPG, uh, I like it. I like it. So I guess he has some use, and he doesn't do any favors to other gray market dealers by the wrong kind of attention he attracts. And I don't think that's such a bad thing either because you know it's not a bad thing that gray market dealers get a bad rep once every so often. And if TPG is going to be that mark on their face, I don't mind that.
Hmm.
I should contact, but why should I contact TPG? I don't care about TPG. Again, I like the TPG talk on the Watch Nicholas stream. I highly recommend that you guys follow the developments there. Yeah, tug life, tug life. Yeah, that's the allegedly that's the philosophy. GB Vol. Hey, GB Vol. Nice to see you, man. Welcome back to the channel. And this was the Masena Lab Unimatic watch that JJ says he loves and everyone else possibly hates. I don't know, how much do these retail for? I don't love it. I think it's too pared down as a design for me. I feel like it's, in a way, I have a sense that it's unfinished. Like they forgot to do something with it. I don't know what it is, but something is missing. Like there's no graduation whatsoever on the rotating bezel, for example. That can be one part. um I don't know. I feel like there's something missing from this watch.
I don't like the. I mean, the bezel is nothing on it,
Yeah.
but the dial is cool. The dial is cool, in my opinion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, I don't know. That horizontal index marker at 6, the absence of graduation on the bezel. There's a lot that irks me about the watch. So to the point that it looks like there's something wrong with it or there's something missing. But everything else about the dial, I actually like. I like the hands. I think they're very nicely proportioned and nicely designed. They're not trying too hard. A lot of the iconic Seiko designs, like the samurai even, but certainly the monster, tuna, etc. I can't get over the design of the hands, for example. In this case, they are distinct, but also quite simple. So I love it. Yeah, except for that 6 o'clock marker, I actually love the dial as well. What do you think about this watch, Joe?
Um, I think the bezel just kind of weirds me out. Of course, I'm always used to divers having some type of bezel. Other than that, I think it's a clean look overall. I mean, I don't mind it. That
Mhm.
little flare of orange there kind of brings the dial to life. Um, I think it's just the bezel that kind of weirds me out, especially when you got that pearl sitting there at the top all by its lonesome.
Mhm. Yeah. I mean, yeah, at least there's that loom pip there that's like a little security blanket for me. If that loom pip wasn't there at 12 o'clock, I think I would completely go crazy when I when I see this watch. But at least, there's something that makes that rotating bezel useful. But beyond that, I don't know. Again, how much do these retail for?
Yeah.
Unimatic Masena
I don't know.
Lab.
Say, Lord, I'm turning into a blumpkin, or I mean a pumpkin, as OC would say. So it is time that I must retire for the night,
Okay.
and we'll catch you in the next one.
Joe, thank you. Thanks for being here. I really appreciate you, man. Take care.
And Des, it's always a pleasure. It's always a pleasure to be blessed with your presence. Take care of yourself, man. You're looking better and better every time.
Thanks, man. Have a good night.
Good night, man. It basically retails for under $900, which is not too bad at all. I like the loom on that. I like that rubber band. Orange and orange is great too, but I think something like JJ chose, like the green one, I think made it a little more muted. I think overall, look, I mean, I was nitpicking a little bit. Um, there are a few things that I don't like, since we were supposed to find what we hate about it. But beyond that, I actually like that minute hand, the fact that it's orange. What kind of movement does it have?
NH35.
It's a Seiko thing, right?
Yeah, but it's a cheap one. I mean, it's a
Hmm.
cheap one.
Yeah. So basically, you are paying for design in this case, right?
Yep.
Look, I mean, I've seen worse in terms of micro brands that make divers. I think this is a very simplistic design. The only thing that genuinely irks me is is that 6 o'clock horizontal index marker. Other than
Yeah.
that, I can live with everything. Why not? Why not? I don't hate it. I have to say that. I don't hate it.
It's a cute watch. It's a cute watch.
And user unknown is absolutely right. Amazing how this hobby, quote unquote, makes us think $900 is nothing. It really isn't. I
Yeah.
have to go back to that. That's why I said when I was talking about the SKX and when I was talking about the new GMTs as well that are right under 500, just that ethos of, again, reliability, robustness, durability, and accessibility is what excites me about Seiko at the entry level. But even then, you have to recognize that it amounts to at least some small measure of sacrifice for a lot of people to put aside a few $100s for a watch. And once it goes above 500, that's another discussion altogether. So you are absolutely right, user unknown, and Matt K agrees with him.
Yeah.
Guys, actually, I might call it a day. We are already past 3 hours, so if you have enjoyed this show, if you have learned something from it, please don't forget to upvote on your way out. Spread the word, share the link on other platforms. In the meantime, if you want to help me get to 1,000 subscribers and to monetization, um, doing that would be wonderful, right? Just tell all your friends, spread the word, share the link, and we'll get there brick by brick, piece by piece, one sub by one sub. And you know that I care about each and every comment, each and every chat. I respond and I engage because that's what makes this a community that we are trying to expand. In the meantime, until the channel gets monetized, if you want to support it, if you want to encourage me in creating more live streams and new and original and exclusive content, which I'm doing by now almost on a daily basis, um, you can always consider a PayPal contribution at Lord Hellespont V at gmail.com, lordhellespontv at gmail.com. And that's my primary point of contact, by the way. So if you have any questions, any requests for personalized videos, if you want me to dedicate a live stream to a review of your collection, send me an email at lordhellespontv at gmail.com. And I also have a Cash App for contributions, $LHVVV, $LHVVV. And that information for PayPal and Cash App is in that crawling ticker and the video description. This any parting words?
Um, uh, be good, guys. Brian is a good guy, you know.
Yeah, people are being a little harsh. I don't look, I don't know Brian, so I don't have anything bad to say about him. I'm not gonna inherit someone else's conflicts and assessment of a person whom I haven't even met on a live stream. So,
Mhm.
guys, take care. Thank you for being here. And I will catch you tomorrow at the same time, 7:30 Pacific Daylight Savings, 10:30 on the East Coast. Take care.